Here we go again tonight. We are at Alpha Lima Bravo in Albany. Tonight we do not have any landing lights. We discover it on our pre-flight. But for this flight we do not need landing light because we're a private operator. If it was commercial flight, we will have need to have landing lights for commercial operation. But tonight we're going to do it cowboy style, and we're going to just fly without our landing light, which is perfectly legal. Starting a cirrus, we do things so fast, it's like a ritual. We do mixture full rich as required, powerful forward. We do boost, pump, and then after we retard our power to 1/4 inch, and then we start. After starting, we're going to look for oil pressure. Make sure you're getting oil pressure. Make sure instruments is in the green. We turn our alternator on to generating power. We're on battery power. And as soon as the ship starts to generate its own power, then we start to bring on our lights and avionics. Here we are waiting our system to come up. We have our avionics coming up. We have our 430s and we have our 5,500 coming up for our Albany system. In that time, our ADIS is in. We verify that our navigation system is up to date, and we cross-check it with our gauges and make sure everything is okay. After that, we're going to pick up our ADIS N120.45, which is our ADIS for Albany. And for tonight, our ADIS for tonight is variable at 5 knots, 10 miles visibility, 10 miles statute mileage, time is clear. We have a few clouds at 12,000, which is, we're not going to be all the way up by 12,000 today. We're going to stop at 6,000 because it's a short flight and we just want to get over the mountains. There's a lot of mountain over here in Albany. Runway 10 is in use, and also 28. We're going to use 10. Temperature is 19. Dew point is 12 degrees Celsius. Altimeter setting is 299.7. And we are gonna take our ADIS popper is in use. We're gonna pick up our ADIS and then we're gonna call up clearance delivery to get our clearance. At this point, I'm checking my intercom system, make sure it's good. Also make sure my radio is okay. I know I'm calling clearance delivery to pick up my clearance. It's an IFR flight tonight because we fly IFR. Even VFR condition, we still fly IFR because that's our privilege and that's what we do. We're IFR pilots, so we fly IFR. At times we may fly VFR just for fun, but we have the privilege, so we use it. We're instrument rated pilots, so we always fly to the T. Keep it professional all time and keep our skills sharp, so we always fly IFR. So tonight we're going to do an IFR flight over there from Albany into Hartford, and I'm just going to go ahead and read our clearance because, as I'm saying, we lose our audio, so you will hear it in the background but you won't hear it very clearly. So for tonight, our IFR clearance to Hartford, which is Kilo Hotel Foxtrot Delta, and we're cleared to Kilo Hotel Foxtrot Delta. Route 4 for tonight is going to be Albany 7 departure, and then as file. And what did we file? We filed to Albany VOR, then to Chester VOR, and then over there to Hartford. Our clearance altitude limit is climb and maintain 4,000 and expect 7,000 10 minutes after. Our frequency for departure is 132.825. And our squawk is 5341. and we're going to read that back to the controller, and the controller going to come back on the radio and say cirrus-907 Charlie, your readback is correct, and it will tell you to contact ground when you have the ADIS. One of the perks is coming out of whenever you fly into an international airport or even an airport with high traffic volume like Albany, Bradley International, New York, which is JFK, or any one of these major airports, we have a SID departure. And the SID departure for Albany is the Albany 7 departure. You got to know the SID. So SID is a procedure in which you follow. It's a standardized procedure in which you follow, so you can be coordinated in getting out of the terminal area and onto your route of flight, whether you're going to be transitioning from one section to another sector. So we use a SID, and then we have a transition that we transition to enter into a route and fly. So today our SID is the Albany 7, which we're going to go climb out and runway heading, and then the radar vector is back to Albany VOR to join our Victor. Tonight we're going to join Victor 147. So we're going to intercept Victor 147 from Albany, and we're going to try that out to the Chester VOR, and then from the Chester VOR over there to Hartford. On departure, we're going to get a heading to fly heading 100. We're going to fly 100 until clear, and then we're going to turn. You're going to give us a next heading to turn, and right turn to 180. So Mr. cirrus-907 Charlie, to turn 180 to join Victor 147 and proceed on navigation. And you're going to hear that later. But for right now, we're getting ready to go, and I'm doing my check to make sure I'm at the right location. So I'm going to call in for taxi clearance from ground. We're going to switch over to ground. Ground frequency is 121.7. So we're going to switch from clearance delivery to ground. Let ground know that we have the ATIS and we're ready for a taxi, and ground going to give us our taxi instruction. At this point, 2 runways available. I'm closer to runway 10, so we're going to do a runway 10 departure, and I asked them for that, and they're going to allow me to do that, which is controller, very awesome people. They always try to make your work more easier, and especially in the night tonight where my landing lights is not working, it's blowed. It's just one of those things, man. So it's all boiled down to your level of skill and comfort. If you're not comfortable flying the plane without lights, without landing lights, then you just call it a night and go get a hotel, and then you do it again in the morning. Safety comes first. It's all about safety. But when you have some level of hours under your belt and stuff, then you will go ahead and do all these things because you're comfortable doing all these things, you know what I mean? And it's perfectly legal. So at this point, we get our clearance to taxi to Alpha and then to runway 10 short, in which we're going to be doing. And then we're going to do a run up, and we're going to call tower when we're finished with our run up and let them know that we're all set and we're ready to go. So we call and say cirrus-907 Charlie, holding short of runway 10, ready for IFR release. And they're going to say stand by for IFR release, and as soon as your airspace is clear and ready, they will come back and release you. But for right now, you just have to sit put and just wait in your IFR release. As you see, as I'm taxiing down the taxi, you see I'm tapping on the where my switches are for my landing lights, because I just did a pre-flight. All lights was working, all landing lights was working, so I was tapping the switch to see if there's something wrong with it. The switch, why I'm doing it. It's just an habit because I'm in the field and I'm an electrical engineer, so I was just like, hey, is something cropped out with a switch? So I tap it right there because it has a board. It have a board that's plugging all the switchboard in the right underneath there on the console there. That sometimes it's locked, so you'd have to tighten it up. But for tonight, the land light was out, but it's just an habit for me to just tap on it and say. But we know that we're also going to complete the flight without having landing lights. But we're here and taxiing to our assigned runway. It's a little bit edited, but we do a run-up. You're going to see we do a run-up. We always do a run-up before departure. Make sure everything is okay and check our mags, check our autopilot system. We check our alternator, make sure 1 and 2 are producing what they're supposed to be producing. We also check our annunciator lights, make sure that everything is okay. And we do all the necessary checks and then we'll run it. How I do my checks, I do a flow check. But in the night, I do a check for check, word for word. Some of it is edited out, but that's the way I do it. It's the same system every time, constant. It's like a written book, so you don't forget anything. So that's what we're doing now. We're doing our run up, we're rolling short of our runway. And then we're going to go and contact ground. After we finish our run up, we're going to contact tower. But we're finished with ground already. Reach our destination, which is holding short at the runway. We're going to contact tower and 119.5 and let them know that we're ready to go. So we're waiting on IFR release. And as soon as they release us, then we're going to take the runway for ourselves and depart. And they're going to tell us what they want us to do on departure. For this departure, they're going to say cirrus 907 Charlie, clear for takeoff, fly heading of 100 degrees after takeoff. Immediately after takeoff, you don't fly 100, you're going to climb and fly, follow your ODP, which is obstacle departure procedure. And then when you clear off obstacle, then you're going to turn on your assigned heading. Then they're going to come back to you and give you a different heading, or maybe you keep that heading all the way up to your limit. Clearance limit was 4,000, unless they come back to you and say cirrus 907 Charlie, you're clear to 7,000, in which you're going to say to us they're going to void our 4,000 limit and clear us to 7,000 shortly after takeoff. At this point, we're clear of the taxiway and we're turning onto the runway. Our runway lighting is dim. I like it like this. I like when it's dim. If you're not comfortable this way, you can always call the ATC and ask them to increase the intensity for you. But the transition from light to darkness this way is better for me, and my eyes are transition very quickly. So we're rolling down the runway and we're picking up speed. Everything is looking good. We cross-check, make sure that instruments are in the green. Right at 70, we rotate and we climb out at, if you can see my gauge, I'm reading like 100 knots right there. So I'm like 95 to 100 knots. And I'm going to hold 100 knots and climb out. Right there, you see I retract my flaps. My chops reflect over 80. So like when I reach 80, knots and climbing out, I'll retract my flaps. Normally I retract it like 90 just to get that extra buffer speed, especially when it's gusty. But tonight is very calm and nice, so I retract it like 90 knots, and I'm climbing out at 100 knots. And as soon as I climb out like over like 600 feet, you're going to see the aircraft start to sweep back and forth like I guess a mountain wave right there. And we're just climbing out, man, and then it gets steady. We're going to climb out all the way up full power. If you notice, the engine is at full power. We're climbing out at full power, until I reach a comfortable altitude. I pull back the power to 2500 RPM, which is about 75% power. I throttle back on the engine. Sometimes I keep it to 100% power, but like tonight, it's very cool and calm and everything is okay. All the instruments are in the green. So I like to pull back the engine a little and climb out. It's only one person inside the engine. We're light, we're not heavy. So at 75% power, man, we're climbing, and sometimes I have to pull it back down to 65% power because this thing is just shooting. It's sr22, man, a lot of power. Power is like crazy on these birds. It's very fast. So at this point now, we are Cirrus. They come back to us and say Cirrus 907 Charlie. They give us our heading. We were turning on heading 100 degrees. They come back and tell us that we're clear to 7,000 and they need us to turn at 180 to join Victor 146 and proceed on course. That's our that's part of the Albany departure procedure, which is a SID. So here we go. It's so beautiful and peaceful flying at night, man. Even when you're turning on course, man, all the lights and all the attraction on the ground, it will distract you if you're not careful of what you're doing. You just have to fly the bird. And now we're flying the instrument condition. We're flying an instrument IFR plan, but we're in VFR conditions. Every now and then we creep outside and we take a look outside and see the beautiful and amazing light features that's on the ground. And we pop back our head inside and we do what we do, you know. Safety first, man. But this is what we do. We do it for enjoyment. So we enjoy ourselves while we fly. As long as I'm behind the control, man, I'm doing what I'm doing, I'm happy. You know what I mean? So we are turning on to intercept Victor 146. And we are 4,000 climbing up. We're looking at we had 4,000 climbing up to 7,000. We reached 7,000 very fast. I pulled back the power. And we're doing right now, we're doing 120 knots, which is crazy speed. In our climb, we're doing a shallow climb. And we're doing like 700 feet per minute. Sometimes we could push it all the way up. Sometimes do even 1,500 feet per minute while I'm alone inside there. Sometimes 1,600 feet per minute. But we don't need to stress a bird. It's calm and it's relaxing. We don't need to stress a bird like that. We don't need to get altitude that fast. We take our time when we get up there. You know, relax, and we're comfortable for a passenger if we have passenger flying with. Now, when you push the plane too hard and bring it to altitude very fast, it's a little bit discomfortable for passenger ears. For us, it's okay because we fly very often, so it doesn't really bother us that much. But I always have this system. It's a part of me to gradually get to altitude, so whenever I'm bringing my kids, they're comfortable. Whenever my kids fly with me, they're comfortable. So that's the purpose of me doing a shallow climb all the way up. Tonight we're doing a lean of peak climb all the way up to altitude. So we lean as we climb. That's the way we save on fuel as well, as we keep our engine happy, you know what I mean? So we go through different altitude cleaning. Right now we're approaching 7,000 feet and we're going to start to level off and get our bird configured for cruising. Tonight we're going to be cruising at 150 knots, which is pretty. We have a tailwind. We'll be seeing a ground speed of 165 knots. At one point in our descent we were over 200 knots because we had a heavy tailwind and we were indicating a 60 knots, and we were like 190 something. So hey, it is the way it is, man. So we level off and we set up our thing, and then we after setting up we start to get the bird ready for arrival, because you have to stay ahead of the aircraft. That's the way I fly, that's the way I've been trained. You stay ahead of the aircraft so you have time to do whatever you want to do, because flying an aircraft is not all about flying, you know, it's just about sightseeing when you can. So you try to do everything to stay a 2 step ahead of the aircraft so you can enjoy the beauty of flying. You can look outside, you can do what you do, you can enjoy yourself while you're talking to ATC, you're navigating, and you do what you do, and it's become fun. When you're behind the aircraft, trust me, man, it's no fun. It's no fun flying behind an aircraft that you're behind. You get all stressed out and stuff like that. So you got to make sure you're ahead of the aircraft. So that's what I'm doing. I'm getting the aircraft ready for arrival, even though we're like 50 something miles away from our destination. We're getting it ready for arrival. Tonight we're going to be doing a visual approach into Hartford because we have clear skies and the time is beautiful. So we're going to do a visual approach into Hartford. So you're going to see a lot of spectacular, beautiful scenery and stuff like that. You'll be seeing it because we're not doing an approach tonight. Normally we do an approach, but for tonight it's beautiful, so we do a visual approach. ATC gonna come also clear us for a visual approach. If you do not want a visual approach, you can deny it. You can let them know that, hey, I want to do the LDA into Hartford. We can't do the RNAV because the RNAV is not authorized for you to fly at night into Hartford, so but we can do the LDA. So we have we have 2 options. Actually we have 1 option because the RNAV is not available at night. Yeah, but tonight is very calm, clear sky, beautiful. A visual approach over the city, man. Oh, it's breathtaking. So that's what I'm up for. Before I take off and decide that I want to do a visual approach and look outside and see what's going on, because hey, we haven't flown the plane in quite a while. It's like 3 weeks now since we have flown the plane, and we're at night current, so we're not worried about that. If I was in night current, I wouldn't be flying the plane without landing light. It's not that you cannot fly without landing light if you're not night current, because you're only 1 person on board. But we're comfortable that much because we do a lot of night flying. We're comfortable, it's not that much, so we can land without lights. But yeah, it is what it is, man. At nights, I go head out to the airport, man. I would bang out some takeoff and approaches and stuff like that to keep the skill, because flying is a skill, you know. You have to keep on flying to be that comfortable where you fly at your fingertips. You just driving a car. You drive a car so much that you can drive the car at your fingertips. You're not grabbing up the steering and doing a dead man grip on the steering, because you have so much experience inside the aircraft that, hey, it's second nature. And that's what we're doing tonight. Tonight we are heading over there into Hartford, doing a visual approach. And at this point now, they're going to transition us over to Bradley approach. We're going to be on, I think it's, don't quote me for it, but I think the frequency is 125.35 for this sector. And they're going to put the patches over to that one, and then after this sector they're going to patch us over to 123.905, which is the sector over to Bernard Airport. and then they're going to transfer us over to Bernard Tower, which is 119.6. And these frequencies, we have them so much in our head that because we fly these airspace very often, you know what I mean? So it's like we just know these frequencies. So at this point now, yeah, I'm just cruising and chilling, and if you look now, we can see I pull up the approach, the LDA approach to Hartford, because we can be planning on doing a visual approach, and when we get there, we have clouds or something obscure our vision and stuff like that. So we're on IFR flight plan. We have to brief an approach until we decide that we're not going to fly an approach. We have to brief an approach. Is the safest way to do it. That's what we do. You know what I mean? Now I'm just fooling around, loading an approach inside the system into the 430 and doing what I do, you know? Fooling around, doing what I do. Yeah, looking outside. We're over the mountains, man, so it's not a lot to see outside, you know? And see, we're coming on to a small city. I think the city is Chester. We're heading over to Chester right now. There's a little bit lights and stuff outside. And on the second leg now, I have ATC, so I won't be talking, so you guys will be listening. Whenever I have ATC on board, I don't talk. I just let you guys listen to ATC and listen to me reacting. Because we have different people reacting with our channel. We have people who are trying to learn to fly, who would like to get familiar with radio calls and stuff like that, you know what I mean? So we try to make sure that we cater for everybody. But this is my documentary, man. This is my life. So it's doing a documentary of me enjoying myself, living my life, man, flying my bird. And that's it. That's Chester, the city of Chester. We're flying over the city of Chester now. And we're heading over. I'll see you on the next leg. The next leg going to be the approach into Hartford. And we're going to have the full approach right to touchdown. And that's me right there, man. That's me right there in the dark, putting on my red light, so, you know what I mean? Do what we do. Tonight is solo.